Welcome to Escape Artist, the podcast where we celebrate the bold souls who have dared to break free from the confines of the corporate 9-to-5 grind to pursue their passions and create a life of personal and financial freedom. Each week, we'll uncover the stories of extraordinary individuals who have embarked on their own entrepreneurial adventures. Our guests will share their personal tales of liberation, resilience, and triumph. Together, we'll explore the pivotal moments, the challenges, and the lessons learned along the way. So join me as we embark on a journey of discovery, courage, and boundless potential. Let's design the life you've always dreamed of, where the only boss is you. Here's your host, Laura Demetrius. I am really excited to introduce you guys to my very first guest on Escape Artist podcast. His name is James Curran, and he's a great friend of mine. We met a couple years back in the ClickFunnels community, and he's been building his agency for a while. He works very closely with his wife, and he's known as the Linchpin funnels guy or the Linchpin guy. And if you already know what a Linchpin funnel is, great. If you don't, no big deal. This is something that was created recently by Russell Brunson, the founder of ClickFunnels. And it's basically a funnel that brings people into your continuity program so that your business is actually sustainable and bringing in monthly recurring income, which is obviously very important for all business owners, entrepreneurs, and anyone who has just an online business, whether it's a side hustle or if it's full time. You know that a business is sustainable and long term if you can actually bring in that MRR from people who are in a continuity program or a paid community or whatever that looks like. And I have learned so much from him. He is very tactical. He is inspiring. He's kind and genuine and just has a lot of really great tips and advice for everybody out there. So without further ado, here's my interview with James Curran. All right, friends, I've got James Curran with me. James is a good friend of mine. We met in the ClickFunnels community. He's also an ambassador over there. He is known officially as the Linchpin guy. He does Linchpin funnels, and he knows probably more than anyone else out there now about Linchpin funnels. And he is here to share his experience and his journey about leaving the 9-to-5 job. So James, thanks so much for joining me today. I'm really excited for people to hear from you.
Thank you so much. I'm really grateful to be on here with you. We've had a bit of a history. I'm grateful for what you've done to help me increase my sort of status and visibility within the community, and I'm happy to serve. So let's talk.
Yeah. Okay. I just want to jump right into it. Give me your story, your version about what it was like working a 9-to-5 and what brought you to leaving.
Okay. Can I talk about how I got to the 9-to-5?
Yes,
Is that
please.
interesting?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Because I was on my way to be a musician. I played saxophone from 4th grade all the way through 12th.
Cool.
I was into like electronic music production, and I got to college and I was like, I signed up for all music classes, and like literally like the day before school started, I was like, I'm not doing this. Canceled all my music classes. I went to undecided, undeclared as my major, and I just kind of sank. I didn't do well in school, and I was pretty good before that, but I didn't do well at all. So I ended up falling into a call center job, like out of college. It was like pretty miserable.
Pretty different from music.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, I guess a lot of musicians probably have jobs like that, right? If you're starting
That's probably
out.
true.
But it was I just needed to get a job, so I did that. But long story short, I found my way into, I was always technically oriented. So I found my way into like helping a supervisor with like a spreadsheet, and then like, oh, we need a web page thing. Okay, I can do that. And so I kind of found my way and kind of created a position where I was this technologist person, and ended up being like, okay, I didn't think I was actually smart enough to be a developer when I was in high school and college, but having the actual evidence and having the ability to grab a book by myself and learn, I'm like, this isn't so hard. Let me just do this. I ended up getting the education and becoming a software developer for quite a long time. So that's how I got into the sort of like corporate world, I would say.
Interesting. Because I feel like most people, the hardest part of getting into coding and software development is like the actual learning about it. And for you to pick up a book and just start teaching yourself, like, I feel like that itself is like the intimidating part. Like you just hear like, oh, I'm learning software development. And you're immediately like, that sounds very complex. But for you to just pick up a book and start learning it yourself, like, was there any other formal education or was it all self-taught?
No, well, I mean, eventually I ended up getting a degree in web application development. But while I was there, I was kind of like on par with the professors. Like it wasn't like a four university; it was just a 2 year university. But like I had a knack for it. I've always been
Yeah.
technically oriented, and finding ways to get good on a platform or finding ways to navigate through technology, I'm really, really good at that. I suck at basic math. I'm not good at a lot of things. I'm pretty disorganized when it comes to a lot of things, but when it comes to like taking a complex problem and finding a way through it, I'm pretty good at that. So this like esoteric, take everything, put it into your head, find a path through it, and then like bake it into code. I just fell in love with that.
That's a unique set of skills. Okay,
Yeah.
so what came next?
Lots of jobs. So I went to startups. I had big corporate jobs. I worked for some pretty big companies, in the thousands of employees. I really liked software startups though, because, sometimes there'd be catered food, sometimes there'd be foosball tables, sometimes there'd be beer, it
It
was
is
kind of
fun
a,
culture, yeah.
yeah, for sure. So I definitely liked that. And just kept leveling up, I usually would find my way to despite I didn't really want the responsibility, but I eventually get promoted and being like a supervisor or a manager or director or whatever. But never really knew that like I wanted to climb the corporate ladder. That really
Yeah.
wasn't my thing. I wanted to deliver value. I wanted to really level up my technical skills. I wanted to, speak on stages and go to user conferences and other places to like be that guy, but never be like the person with all the responsibility. Also, I didn't want to be disconnected from the core thing that I really love, which was the technical work.
Mm, yeah. And at what point in your life was there like a pivotal moment where you were like, I don't want to do this for anyone else. I want to do it for me?
Yeah, I was in a job where it was like a hostile takeover, actually. It was super dramatic. It was like the owner is gone, this person's gone, and they like elevated me to being in charge of this entire department. And I was like, okay, let me just see what I can do here. Because I'm really big into the idea of like, I don't think I want to do this, but let me see. Let me just see. Because maybe I'm just, a little bit afraid of it. So let me go see what it's actually like. And I did that for a while and it just wasn't a good scene. And I was like, okay, I gotta get out of here. I'm not enjoying this. This is like way too many late nights. It was in the newspaper industry, a software for newspapers, and they have a night shift kind of mentality where they have to get all this stuff done so that it hits the printer,
Mm,
so that it hits the truck, so that it gets delivered to the people's doorstep early. So the hours were just stupid. So if something would
yeah.
go wrong, I get calls at like 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, it wouldn't matter. So that was a real like pain point kind of situation where I'm like, okay, I got to figure something else out. But the gap between when I kind of made that decision and to when I actually did something about it was a long time, like probably like 8 to 10 years.
Mm, yeah. Is it something that like just never settled in you? Like you always had this itch, maybe you were meant for more and you just kind of kept bearing it down? Or were there highs and lows where you're like, no, this is actually like I can get by with this. I like it. I like the people. And you kind of got to a point where maybe you realized that you were settling, like that there was more? Like, how did you make the decision to eventually leave?
Well, it was a bit of the fact that I was sort of getting to like the upper levels of what I could get paid
Mm,
in
yeah.
in the industry, so I kind of hit that. But also just this desire for freedom,
Mm,
the desire for like not even really knowing what I was going to do, but the desire to be location independent was a huge thing.
yeah.
My wife's from Europe. We like to travel. We like to go places, like to be able to not worry about 2 weeks vacation or whatever. Every time you start a new job, it's like, oh, God, including sick days. So all of
Yeah.
these constraints were really sort of crippling, and it was always the dream. But I was really afraid to just take a step out there and actually do it. Being someone who is like sort of high in theoretical or the conscientious side, kind of depending on which psychological lens you look at, I thought of a lot of ways that it could go wrong.
Yeah.
Which I think is pretty common. I see it a lot today with the entrepreneurs that I talk to, or the people that have yet to make the jump.
Yeah.
It's like we want to add so much insurance.
Yeah.
We want to think things through. We want to do everything but actually ship something because the fear of public embarrassment or of it going wrong or whatever, it just seems so bad
Yeah.
that it kind of keeps us from getting started.
It's so true. In fact, I think even the most extreme of optimists go through that. Like, I don't know if I have what it takes. Like, I don't want to fail. Like, there's something about going on your own in business where it's like, especially if you're documenting it and with social platforms and everything now, like you're putting a lot out there. Like it's high stakes. Like if you're putting it out there, you want to make sure that people also aren't seeing you fail after putting it out there. And it feels big.
It
Um,
does feel big, and you think that you don't want them to see you fail, but you do want them to see you fail and get up on a horse again and actually do it because you're gonna fail. Like,
I
just
think
count
that's
on
the
it.
key too. It's like that's the relatable stuff, right? Like
Yeah,
it's okay to fail. It's how you react to the failure that people really feel like they want to start watching. Like that's the comeback.
not only is it okay to fail, it's necessary to fail.
Yeah. If you're not
You
failing, it means you're not doing, right?
you can't, I mean, yeah, then you're overanalyzing and planning too many things. Like,
Yeah.
you have to suck. You have to, like, you're just not good at it yet, and there's no training that's gonna be better than going out there and doing it in the real world.
Yeah. Yeah. Be sucky. Like there's only up from there. It's cool.
Yeah, yeah, totally. So yeah, it took me a long time to actually get to that point. But then you asked what actually made it happen, and I gotta admit, a big influence in my life was my wife.
Mm,
She was really influential in me doing something. She wanted me to be bigger, more of a man, to like to really talk to the core of the issue. Like,
yeah.
she viewed someone that's working for someone else is just not as responsible, not as independent, not as dependable. You know, when we work for other people, there's nothing that's guaranteed. You
Yeah.
know,
It's
that
so
job
true.
that I was at when I was saying how the hostile takeover happened and like I was put in charge of all this stuff, they ended up laying me off.
Hmm.
You know, there's nothing guaranteed there.
You can't count on anyone but yourself.
You really can't. You really can't. And that sounds like, narcissist or not. What's the word? Where there's no hope. There's a worldview that I'm thinking of. But it
Oh,
sounds kind of,
pessimistic?
yeah. There's something else. I think it's like a German word, but there's a it can be kind of like a downer to think of things that way. But really, it's just like,
Yeah.
no, like no one's coming for you. Like, really,
It's
no
so
one
true.
is. You know, like it's kind of becoming a cliche right now. A lot of people are saying it, but I'm glad because it's like,
Yeah.
okay, really, no one is coming for you. Everyone that is out there, like employing people, like they need you to do the thing so that they don't have to do the thing, and they don't want to
Yeah.
pay you what you're worth. They're going to pay you with what they can get away with paying you.
Yeah.
Like, and it's a harsh truth that took me a while to actually realize.
It's very, very true. And it is a harsh truth. And it's very eye-opening. And it's also I think when you go through that point is when it's difficult in the moment. But I think anyone in that position, especially people who have some entrepreneurial skills, can look back at it as a blessing in disguise. Like it never feels like it in the moment while it's happening, but in a way it's the universe setting you free so that you can do what you were meant to do.
Every time, and even if it's like, so I had some cases where it wasn't what, like my next thing wasn't what I was meant to do, but it was a better situation than I was in.
Yeah,
You know, like when I got laid off from that one job, I ended up at this cool ass like this company called Media Lab that did 3D modeling and rendering of like houses and interior stuff, and like I was on this internal team, and like it was just such a cool environment to be in.
that
So
sounds
like
cool.
it was a level up for sure.
Yeah. Hello, my fellow digital entrepreneurs. I'm absolutely thrilled to introduce you to something truly transformative. Picture this. You are armed with the most cutting edge digital marketing strategies, equipped with high income skills, and empowered to establish and run a thriving online business. That's where the Digital Wealth Academy comes into play. This program isn't just your typical online course. It's a comprehensive journey meticulously crafted to guide you from where you are to where you dream of being. From understanding your market to crafting your product, from nurturing your leads to sealing the deal, every step of your journey is covered with care. With the Digital Wealth Academy, you'll gain exclusive access to the master resale rights and take the reins of your future. Imagine rebranding and sharing this invaluable knowledge as your own while reaping the rewards time and time again. No more holding back. No more settling for less. With this program, your potential knows no bounds. Are you ready to embrace this opportunity and turn your aspirations into tangible achievements and financial freedom? Head to www.laurademetrius.com or click the link in the show notes to step into the world of digital entrepreneurship today. Remember, your journey to success begins now. Okay, so what do you do now?
What I do now is I help if you're good at something and you're getting people results on like a kind of like a one-to-one level where you're like really busy, like you're a coach, you're just helping people out and you're kind of booked, you're like kind of like done with the amount of stuff that you can do in a certain day.
Yeah.
And you want to start like doing like creating a course or creating a membership or something like that where like people can kind of figure it out for themselves based on the information that you have. I build websites and sales funnels that deliver that experience so that you don't always have to be the one spoon feeding it to people. You can take your genius, package it up into a format that lets everyone 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, all countries consume your stuff and get the results that you are an expert in without having to you actually do it yourself.
Amazing. And can you talk a little bit about how you apply this linchpin concept to businesses?
Yeah, I mean, linchpin is it's a particular term that's sort of like trending in our industry right now, but the 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 sort of theme is just that one recurring value,
Mhm.
where if you think of like Netflix, it's a subscription, you pay for it, whatever it is, 15 bucks a month or whatever, you get limited access for that month. So there's a value exchange right there. I pay money, I get this stuff. Um, what I do is I take that concept that on a recurring basis, and it's got some advantages. One, if say that someone had a course that cost like $5,000, a certain number of people are going to be able to afford that, and a certain number of people will not.
Right.
If we're able to create something where there's a membership associated with it or a subscription, then you can sell that thing for $147 a month and broaden the access, make a bigger impact to your community than you would if it was just a $5,000 thing. You know,
Yeah.
so it's this idea of recurring value and applying it to what might otherwise be a fixed thing and spreading it out so that everyone can get a piece.
Yeah. Very cool. And who's like your ideal dream client?
Well, my ideal dream client has 100,000 Instagram subscribers. They value investment and want to do something cool to make an impact to actually like raise the frequency of the planet.
So cool. I love what you do. And I just have to put this out there. I know I mentioned that we've been friends, we've known each other for a bit, and how we came to get to know each other was from you providing so much value to people in a community. And I just have to say for anyone listening, like if you don't know James and you don't follow him already, he is just a fountain of knowledge about not all things just funnel building, but he provides so much value in agency world and anything tech related, anything that comes with building and growing and scaling a business. And again, like that key point about bringing in monthly recurring revenue, I think people tend to forget how important that is in a business and how sustainable that entire framework is to have something, to have revenue coming in on a monthly basis from having a subscription based service. And you provide so much value. Like you're not out there just selling. Like
No.
the way in which you do business, and this is what I admire so much about seeing everything that you put out there, is everything feels so naturally, organically inbound because you give and give and give that I would be shocked if you even really had to sell to anyone with how much you put out there. I imagine that people just are coming to you and saying, take my money. Like you are so knowledgeable. Please help me. Like I just love that you're always willing to give information and help people out no matter what.
Thank you. I'm grateful for that. I think a lot of it comes from the fact that I am relatively new to this world, this marketing world. I spent 20 plus years as a software developer, and I want to give probably to kind of compensate for my lack of decades of experience specifically to marketing. I am super knowledgeable with all things technical though. Like as
Yeah.
a backend web developer, like building, scaling websites, like I understand nuts and bolts, very low level, what it takes to have success there, which is why it was a natural fit for me to be into the funnel building world. But yeah, I that's just how we are, man. Like my wife and I, we're really into the idea of giving and giving and giving, and it just always comes back. So like, first of all, it feels freaking good to give.
Yeah.
If I give to you, like I'm gonna feel good immediately.
Mm-hmm.
Not even thinking about the fact that we have this reciprocity imbalance, which we talk about a lot in the industry, and the fact that you're gonna come around and be like, James, I know you helped me out one time. Let me just do this thing for you. Like that's gonna happen too, but it feels good for me to do it. But yeah, being able to do it in a particular group at scale does put a lot of attention on me. I've had some ridiculous people in the industry being like, James, I see you. Keep doing what you're doing, man. Like people within the organization, people outside of the organization, and it works. So that's a real reason why I keep doing it for sure.
It's amazing. And I look forward to seeing you on stages soon because I can imagine that will be happening for you very soon.
We'll see.
I can see it.
Okay, that's cool. I'll just take that as a compliment and let's go.
You just manifest that.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have to ask, and I know that people listening will probably be looking for advice on this because if they are listening, they're probably already kind of teetering on the, is it time for me to step away? What advice would you give to somebody that is considering leaving their 9 to 5 to pursue their own thing? Like, what's your key takeaway from your experience that you could give to someone else?
I think the best thing that you could do is to start an Instagram account or a TikTok account
Yeah,
and create a video every day on whatever it is that you think that you want to do.
just create content, just put it all out there, just keep going.
Yeah, because to be a successful business owner, you need to create content every day.
Yeah,
You just do. So a lot of people don't do that, and it's harder, And maybe you have money where you can pay for ads, you can get traffic that way. But if you're working at a 9 to 5, probably don't have a ton of money sitting around for an ad budget, right? So Russell Brunson likes to say, dig your well before you're thirsty.
hmm
Alex Ramosi has some metaphors as well. If you could delay the amount of time between when you start giving and when you ask for something, the reciprocity amount is going to be so great that by the time you ask for something, you're going to have people like begging to give you money,
That's great
right?
advice. Yeah,
Yeah. And also, like your idea probably isn't going to be the thing that makes you money, your first
yeah,
idea,
yeah,
right? So you might create 8 different TikTok accounts by month 8, and that's okay. Like that's part of it too. Understand that you're not going to knock it out of the park with your first at bat. You just
yeah,
won't.
yeah. And also start now. Like, there's no reason to not do those things while you're working.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah, like get the ring light or get whatever gear you think you need. You don't need any of it, but like a lot of people want to sort of make up for this perceived like imbalance in their ability and their skills to deliver value, but with acquiring gear, like get that stuff, have fun with that, do that
yeah,
part, but create content every day and put it out there. Don't
yeah.
just
And
don't
also,
just
it's
sit on it.
okay to suck. Like,
You
it's
have to.
okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. Thanks so much for that advice, James. That's really great. One last thing, where can people go to follow you?
Linchpinfunnels.com.
All right. All your
That's the
socials
one.
on there as well. People can start
Yeah,
watching your
that's the
videos
place.
and
Yeah, you can find me on Facebook too, but that's the kind of hub for everything.
all right. Thanks so much for joining me, James. It's been a pleasure. I love hanging out and chatting with you. We'll have you on again soon and I just appreciate you. You are just full of value and I love that your whole theme here is the rule of reciprocity because man, do you give and give and give and we all appreciate it.
Grateful for this conversation, and I would love to do it again.
Thanks so much, James. Take
All
care.
right, bye.